Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and let's start with a market update from Caleb and Brown, my partner.
This happened in crypto this week. Markets sold off after a strong US PCE inflation reading, with over 500 million US in liquidations across crypto. Bitcoin dropped to 107,000, while Ethereum slid to 4,200 on concerns the Fed may delay the rate cuts. But some saw opportunity. One whale swapped 216 million in Bitcoin for ETH. And Tom Lee from Fundstrat predicts ETH could rally to 5,000 US. Meanwhile, the World Liberty Financial Token launched on Ethereum, and Trump Media announced a $6.4 billion crypto treasury in partnership with Crypto.com, sending Crow up nearly 70%. Institutions are diving deeper. Pantera Capital plans to raise $1.25 billion for a Solana treasury. And Bitline's ETH stash has now reached $8 billion. On the ETF front, 21 shares, Bitwise and Grayscale all filed new applications, while Canary Capital submitted the first ever Trump meme coin ETF proposal. And in a major transparency move, the US Commerce Department began publishing GDP data on several blockchains. Read all about this and more on the weekly roll-up newsletter.
A lot going on in crypto. If you haven't opened a Caleb and Brown account like I did, this is one of my two top choices for where I put my XRP. You can go to xrpwealth589.com if you would like to have free institutional custody, no spreads. If you'd like to have over-the-counter liquidity, if you decide to sell a lot of XRP, if you'd like to have a broker that, like I did a couple days ago, you can send an email, say, hey, I've got such and such cash sitting there, buy XRP with it. And then next thing you know, usually within 5 minutes or so, get a trade confirmation back via email with a PDF showing you all the information on the trade. There's nothing like it. Or you can call your broker. All right, we've got ourselves a 285 XRP. The market's come back a little bit. We're back up to about 3.85 trillion. Here's what's coming. Dom's got it nailed right here. Look at this. Senator Warren just said the quiet part out loud when she claimed that the Clarity Act could completely blow up the value of the New York Stock Exchange. This is exactly why so many politicians have been anti-crypto. They're afraid that crypto will disrupt the traditional banking cabal that funds them. Lucky for us, nothing can stop crypto. And I said, blow up the value of the nice, blow up the value of XRP. Tomato, tomato. Lock in. And here's what he was referencing. This is Senator Warren.
I'd like to switch gears.
I don't know what happened to her anti-crypto army. Maybe she's the last soldier.
Here is, as we have this conversation over in the other chamber, there is a vote still open in the House to try to pass a procedural hurdle to move forward with a trio of pieces of crypto legislation, all part of Crypto Week, one being the Genius Act, the Stablecoin Bill, of course, the Clarity Act, which is a market structure bill, and some anti-CBDC legislation. While the House struggles to find a way forward, you would like to see none of these bills passed, correct? If the Clarity Act comes to the U.S. Senate, you would not be in support.
Look, I want to see us do strong crypto regulation. But what I don't want to do is see the United States government just sign off on very weak regulation that has been written by the industry.
Why did she create an anti-crypto army, or say she was going to create one, if she wants crypto legislation?
The problem with the stablecoin bill and the Clarity bill in particular is that they don't do anything about the Donald Trump corruption that is occurring right out in plain view.
Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So then we've got this. This is something a lot of people don't think about, but I've seen it every year. Things crank up once the Wall Street guys get back from their summer vacation in the Hamptons and all of those places. It says Wall Street just returned to the office from summer vacation, and what do they see? Gold going up and the stocks going down. Well, Let me correct them. Here's what they see. They see SEC and CFTC on trading and spot crypto assets. Crypto trading going mainstream will be on the world's largest venues like the NYSE, the NASDAQ. Trust me, this is what Wall Street's looking at. And you better believe XRP will benefit from it. Meanwhile, Ondo Finance has launched its tokenized equity platform, providing non-U.S. investors with access to over 100 U.S. stocks, ETFs on blockchain rails. Then you've got American Bitcoin debuts on NASDAQ, and that's Eric Trump must be a part of that. And then here's what else the Wall Street guys are looking at. They know what's coming.
For me, I think we need to start cutting rates at the next meeting, and then we don't have to go in a locked sequence of steps. We can kind of see where things are going because people are still worried about tariff inflation. I'm not, but everybody else is. So I would say over the next 3 to 6 months, we could see multiple cuts coming in. For me, I think
we got interest rates cuts coming. They know that too. Gold has surged after last week's breakout. 3,550 now moving in $50 daily clips as world braces for global YCC to contain long end bond collapse. Check this out. Altcoins catching a bid. This was on the Canary Capital YouTube channel.
Altcoins have been picking up quite a bit. This is the total market cap. Monthly BTC, Ripple, ETH, Sol. You can see those bars are gaining a little bit on a relative value basis on market share. If we break it all down, distill it to one number, we can look at Bitcoin dominance. And that has started to roll over. If Bitcoin dominance, that's Bitcoin versus everything else. If Bitcoin dominance goes from 65% to 40%, that's a pretty significant bump in the altcoin market. That 40% level is generally what we've seen historically. That's why I pointed out. So this says, hey, if we're at 56 today on dominance, there's a decent move yet to be had here on the altcoin side, potentially.
Uh-oh. Everybody's seeing something in altcoins. Now's the time to load up on altcoins. I've done that. Did it 2 days ago. Let's see what else we have. This is one of the guys from Bitwise, and when they say Bitcoin, think XRP.
Well, every day at Bitwise, we talk to institutional investors. These are RIAs, hedge funds, family offices, high net worth individuals, and the pattern continues to emerge that more and more of these investors are starting with a 1% allocation to Bitcoin as they build their portfolio. And then what we've seen time and time again is those 1% allocations ladder up to 2, 3, 5%. Now, many investors that we're speaking to have a much larger allocation than that, but we believe that investors will allocate somewhere between 1 to 5% of their portfolios to Bitcoin. If you just take a step back and think about how Bitcoin has a 21 million supply, or how Bitcoin has a 21 million fixed supply, if you think about what a 1 to 5% allocation would be for the 100 trillion institutional investment space, that's 1.5 trillion of additional buying pressure for Bitcoin over the next 10 years. And that's why we think there will be a continued sustained supply and demand imbalance that will drive the price higher.
Oh, yeah. Now, this is interesting. Against the backdrop, what we're seeing right now is we're seeing Putin, Xi, and Kim Jong-un walk side by side. China's largest military parade. All the BRICS are getting together. Trump's even saying, please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, as you conspire against the United States. For those of you that weren't around, this graphic was going around the XRP community. It's kind of surreal to watch. Gold surging. Trump holding up XRP. These guys all getting together. The inference here is that Trump is going to work a deal with them. A lot of interesting times ahead. John Deaton retweeted the video I had put out yesterday with Deborah McCrimmon, who's one of Ripple's vice president, deputy general counsel. She was talking about the behind the scenes of the SEC Ripple case. John says, no credible person can argue that the XRP Army didn't make a difference in the Ripple case. If they do, they're either ignorant to the facts and truth, or intentionally lying. We have conclusive evidence that we made a difference. There are over 2,000 exhibits filed in the case, In her final decision, Judge Torres cited only a couple dozen exhibits. The judge cited my amicus brief, XRP holder affidavits, and the oral argument hearing I had in the library case on behalf of Naomi Brockwell related to the secondary sales. She ruled XRP itself is not a security while citing XRP holder affidavits. Had she not cited those things, people could legitimately debate whether our efforts made a real difference, but the proof is in the decision itself. You're darn right. Look at this. Ethereum Foundation has announced it's going to convert 10,000 Ethereum worth around 43 million via centralized exchanges over several weeks to fund R&D grants and donations. Now, Laura Shin has been attacking Ripple for this exact thing for over a decade. Where is she? She should be highlighting this and talking about how nefarious this is. Where is she? Not just her, the Clueless podcast, the Bankless guys. Where are they at? Same thing. They don't have a word, not a peep. We'll be waiting. We're going to go into DAIXRP.com. In there, we're going to talk about the altcoin short list. You're going to find this interesting. You can go to DAIXRP.com, which is the Patreon. If you'd rather join through YouTube, click join below any of these YouTube videos. If you'd rather join through X, hit the subscribe button on X. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Away we go.